The Department of Defense awarded its highly anticipated $9 billion Joint Warfighting Cloud Capability contract to 4 vendors at the end of 2022. In this interview, we spoke with Rick Wagner, president of Microsoft Federal, one of the JWCC awardee companies, to learn more about what the cloud contract means for the DoD and its commercial partners. Rick has led Microsoft's federal business for over 2.5 years, and he's been named to the WASH 100 for the past 6 consecutive years. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Also, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a question for the leaders of GovCon, please drop a comment below or email studio@executivemosaic.com. Hello, and welcome to Executive Mosaic's video interview series. I'm Summer Myatt, and here to speak with me today is Rick Wagner, president of Microsoft Federal. Rick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure, Summer. It's great to be here.
So, Rick, Microsoft is one of the awardees on the Department of Defense's Joint Warfighting Cloud Capability contract, which represents a major step in the DoD's cloud journey. Can you explain the significance of this contract? What does it mean to Microsoft to win a spot on it, and what will Microsoft bring to the table?
Certainly. So I joined Microsoft towards the end game in JEDI, and as JEDI was coming to an end and JWCC was being released, we were happy that we were moving towards completion and getting into a position where we could support the DoD. The JWCC construct has changed things a little bit in that now it's very focused on the warfighter, and that having that ability to support JADC2, support the warfighter is critical. And JWCC will allow the DoD to bring the best capabilities from across the entire spectrum of the commercial providers. And Microsoft is certainly a key part of that. And so for us, it was really about taking what we had worked on over the years in terms of building out our clouds at all classification levels, adding in the capabilities, security around that cloud, and being able to bring advanced AI, advanced software development capabilities, all in support of providing data at the edge where the warfighters needed it, where they make decisions. One of the things that we did as we were preparing for JWCC is we reorganized Microsoft Federal around kind of the future. And that to me was cloud, it was cybersecurity to ensure it was secure cloud. It was the capabilities at the edge. We have Azure 5G, we have Azure Space. All of those capabilities come together to allow us to operate our cloud anywhere, anytime securely to support DoD missions. We also organized our quantum team and our 5G team, we call that our communications group, into the same organization, strategic missions and technologies. And the mission term within that organization is very significant because we put the organization together to be able to support the federal government missions, and the DoD mission is clearly one of those.
Rick, you mentioned cybersecurity, and as you know, migrating to the cloud inherently means an increase in digital assets and infrastructure and a decrease in physical assets. How do you think cloud is changing the cybersecurity paradigm as traditional organizational perimeters expand and even disappear?
Yes, that's a great question. I go back to the days prior to the internet. So computer networks, and they were very different back then. At that time, you took an approach that said, all right, we're going to have an isolated network. We're going to protect the perimeter. That's going to keep the bad actors out. And then we'll have defense in depth. That's kind of the backup to that. And nowadays with cloud, it's all over the world. It's ubiquitous. And we have to take a different approach than that, because just protecting the edge is not sufficient. And so at Microsoft, we are operating clouds 24 hours a day, and we're seeing trillions of signals that are related to cybersecurity. We've got 8,500 professionals working all the time on that. And we take the approach of secure by design is first, right? So we will take It's not that you design it and then build security in. It's you're building security in from the beginning. Secure DevOps, those types of approaches, and then zero trust architecture. We take an approach that says we first seek to understand and then to trust. And so you verify explicitly every actor, every process, every application, and you assign it the least privileges that it needs to do its job. And then you always assume that somebody is inside of the perimeter, right? That there's already been a breach, whether that be an insider or that be somebody that breached from the outside. And then we take comprehensive end-to-end protection. We've got that comprehensive end-to-end protection built into everything we do, but we also partner broadly with others who provide things that can enhance that. And so all of these things come together to provide the kind of security that the DoD needs.
Let's talk more about zero trust. The DoD released its zero trust strategy recently, which outlines a roadmap for achieving enterprise-wide zero trust by 2027. What are some of the key challenges and opportunities you're seeing as more and more organizations adopt and implement zero trust?
Yeah, so as I talked about, the three principles of zero trust: verifying explicitly, least privilege, assume a breach. That all of this is critical to assume that we can protect the network. One of the challenges is that zero trust is an implementation, and the DoD has recently put guidelines out to create a clarity across how organizations create zero trust architectures, and that's a huge part of how we can have interoperability. The other thing about zero trust is it switches from a compliance mindset and a controls-based approach, and it creates an outcome-focused methodology. So it's not that we look and say, all right, if we implemented every control and created an approach around how we implement those controls and then validate that. It's more about continuous learning. How do we take the best practices and focus on the outcomes? So it means our job is really done when we've ensured that the adversary has been stopped, and not just that the controls are in place. And we do that in partnership. And partnership is a huge thing at Microsoft. We have over 90 partners that work with us on zero trust. Names like Tenable, Yubico, Conquest. And so that's another huge part of how we are able to be industry standard around this idea. And I mentioned lessons learned. We've done numerous pilots and assessments. We've worked directly with the DoD on zero trust to work on the adoptions of those pilots. And as I began the answer to this question, it's about the things that they're doing within NIST, within the Joint Cyber Defense Collaborative, within CISA, and the Navy has been another leader in terms of zero trust.
Rick, as you know, the global power competition has been heating up with challengers like China and Russia. I'm curious, which emerging technologies do you anticipate will have the greatest impact on our standing in the great power competition? And where are you seeing opportunities for accelerated, meaningful tech growth in the US?
Yes, exactly. So Microsoft is organized around several solution areas, and one of them is called data and AI. And we link those two things together because it starts with the data. You know, if you're the DoD, the way in which you're fighting the mission is all around understanding the environment around you. And so having access to that data, Microsoft has what they call the Intelligent Data Platform, which manages data within our cloud. And it builds the foundations of zero trust. It utilizes machine learning. You'll see all the advances in AI that are coming that will play into that. And so we're able to take relational, non-relational data. We're able to have the scale and performance needed to manage that data. So it starts with data governance, right? That you've got to understand what your data is, whether or not it's for the DoD, federal civilian customers, the intelligence community. We're focused on the outcome of unification, democratization, and value creation around that data. And then we add our comprehensive AI platforms. And so we provide a foundational AI infrastructure, add machine learning, cognitive services, and then finally we bring applied AI solutions. You're hearing more and more about that in the news. And the idea is to bring the government knowledge workers, the DoD mission, all of that together to have the right tools for the right job. We also couple that with AI research. We've got over 1,000 researchers working AI problems. They're publishing thousands of papers every year. We've got 20,000 AI related patents in process. This is something that we're working closely on. We're working to provide the services so that we can get human parity in vision, speech, and language. The next piece is it's got to be secure, right? So we're coupling AI and cybersecurity. I talked about the trillions of threats we see every day, and we're using this to inform the DoD, to help our partners, to help our customers prevent threats. The last aspect of this is the ability to ensure that AI is being used ethically and responsibly. And we have a whole team here at Microsoft that focuses specifically on that, because we want to ensure that everything we do is responsible. And there are people out there that have concerns around AI. I can tell you that we spend a lot of time ensuring that we focus on that.
So focusing in on the GovCon ecosystem, what is the most significant trend you're seeing in today's GovCon market, and how do you think that will shape the industry going forward?
One of the things that we saw from the pandemic was how technology could shape how we operate. I actually am part of the Fairfax County government as commissioner focused on the commercial tax base. And one of the things we look at is back to work. And it's been something that has been, I think there was early on the belief that the pandemic ended, well, everyone would go back to work, but hybrid work is persisting. And so the ability to use technology to allow for hybrid work, how we leverage the digital transformation that is occurring with that is, I think, a key for the federal government. And to be able to support that, we have to bring together all of the sectors and provide the greatest amount of technology that we can apply to the issue, and ensure that everyone is able to communicate, collaborate, work together, regardless of where they are. I talked earlier about edge communications. That starts to become a very critical part, because now you're trying to bring people who aren't in a building, right, in with their own network. You got people coming in across 5G, across satellite, wherever the case may be, working anywhere. Microsoft Teams is an example. When the pandemic hit, we were able to very quickly stand up a version of Teams that allowed the DoD to continue to work in those early parts of the pandemic. And so I think bringing together all of industry to be able to apply technologies to support the hybrid work that we're going to see going forward is one of the critical pieces of what the industry will be doing.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for your time today and for all the work you do at Microsoft Federal.
Thank you for having me, Summer.